Hello and welcome to Sonic is what I would say if I was on rollerblades with a cherry limeade on my tray, but I'm not at Sonic and you're not hungry. You just want to listen to some Unmasked and we are back finally. Zach, how are you doing?
You were crazy, man. That was a crazy analogy. I'm happy to be back, bro. Way too long awaited.
We said last time was the first episode of season 1. I think that was just a nice bridge and or season 2. This can be the official start of the new season because I'm now in a new school year. Zach's in a new job. We're just now miles apart again. So this is a new beginning for both of us. And we are so happy to be back right in the middle of the NBA playoffs. So what a better time than now.
The last episode was a season 2 teaser.
Exactly.
It's the real thing. We're back. We're better than ever. Unmasked is back, baby.
We are back. We are starting to take the masks off, huh? I mean, since our last episode, I would say things have gotten a lot better just around the world, like our country at least. I came back to Michigan and I played 5-on-5 basketball today indoors for the first time in Michigan in a year and a half. So even in places like Michigan, the restrictions are starting to come off. I know in Texas it's been like that there were never any restrictions to begin with. So,
and just a disclaimer, Jordan's a very big anti-masker, anti-vaxxer. He hasn't gotten vaxxed. He's just playing 5-on-5. He's trying to infect everybody. But
that's my goal. It's one person at a time. If you can make one person sick every day, then no. And in all seriousness, we've both had friends who have been affected by COVID. Unmasked is a proud supporter of the mask wearing community. We try to just
Absolutely.
be model citizens here. Zach, you want to tell us a little bit about work? How's going into the office? Is that just like a new thing again? I feel like I can't even imagine.
Yeah, dude, it's going really well. I get in at 8 a.m. every day. I believe by like 4:35. I'm working this summer at Goldman Sachs in Dallas, doing wealth management. It's a lot of fun, learning a lot about how, all that stuff works. I don't want to get too boring. This is a sports podcast. Let's keep it like that. I've been listening to too many finance podcasts recently, and I'm happy to be back on sports.
You're a big guy over here. Wealth management, dressed in a polo. I think just to talk to you on Zoom, I need to pop a breath mint real quick. I need to get a little more. There's maybe 3 of them. Okay.
Yeah, dude, it's good. It's gone really well. How's it being back in Ann Arbor?
I got my breath mint. It's great, man. It's a lot different than when I left, but it's nice to be in Michigan when there's not any snow, and to be seeing some people. And for those who don't know, I'm back from my master's degree, and that will start tomorrow. This first day of classes. We're taping this Tuesday night, actually during the Hawks and Bucks.
Yeah, I need to get back to that, but not like it's gonna be that crazy game. Trae Young's out.
Yeah, I know, but the Hawks are winning by 9 right now as we speak in the second quarter. So
really,
Giannis is being subbed out right now. He's out. They started Lou Williams. I'm curious to get your take on that. So, from someone who has seen one of the all-time 6 men in Manu Ginobili, maybe like the 13th best 6 men of all time, or you're gonna put him. You're gonna like make a ranking.
There he goes.
But I'm curious, when someone goes out, say before Kawhi Leonard, George Hill was going to be hurt, or not Tony Parker, not someone who's, I guess he is the focal point of the team. So okay, so say it's Tony Parker. Would you put in Manu to start, or do you leave the bench intact and you don't mess with 2 different rotations, and you just bring in someone to start in his place and just maybe play heavier bench minutes but not start Manu? What'd you do?
Well, I would say that's a little different because I think Trae's primary role in the Hawks is being a scorer. I mean, and also a facilitator, but he's the primary scorer on the team. And Lou Williams, right, is a scorer also. Whereas with Tony and Ginobili, it's a little different because Tony's primary role on the team is facilitating, whereas Ginobili's a scorer. So it's not like a perfect substitute. Where I'm not saying Lou Williams or Trae Young is a perfect substitute either by any means, but I think it makes a little more sense that they want the scoring to kind of be supplemented by Lou Will.
They can't get Kayvon Herter, Mr. 27.
He's fired, but he's a little. Lou Will makes more sense kind of for that role.
No, Kevin Herter already starts. I'm just kidding. Like, instead of like just giving him more shots for the game. But I actually really like Kevin Herter. What's his nickname? Is it Red Velvet? I think it's something like that.
I haven't
I think
heard that.
it's
You know, my friend Jacob Lampert went to Maryland and would sit next to him during tests, and he told me that Kevin Herter was the guy on the basketball team that would go to every single class, wouldn't miss
wow.
it.
I
Yeah,
see it. I mean, he could date
yeah,
my daughter. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
great,
So
great stand-up guy.
yeah,
Real grinder, real scrappy player out there. That's how announcers always talk about the white shooters. Actually, he's real athletic, really trying hard out there, just scrapping and doing all the little things for the team. But he had 27 in a really big game 7 to send the Sixers home. And now score update 41-32 Atlanta. Lou Will just got fouled. Speak of the devil. So I'm thinking about this. Atlanta loses this game. They go down 3-1 headed to Milwaukee. This game's their series is over. So if they can pull out a win here, Trae Young, you would assume would be back at some point. What odds do you give the Hawks in this miracle run of 2021?
I'd say it's like a 15% chance. I think Milwaukee. Either way, I think they're the better team, and they're not going to mess things up. I think I'm taking Milwaukee in 6 max.
Okay, I see that.
Probably 5. I think
Yeah,
it's probably going to be a gentleman's sweep, but 6 max. I'll give myself a little safety cushion.
that's fair. I can't get over how lucky the teams who are alive have gotten in their roads. Like I was listening to Bill Simmons talk about how he's going to sit back and not really think that the best team won this year. Like in his mind, when everyone's healthy, it's Lakers and Clippers and Nets, not particularly in that order, but those 3 teams are the most talented teams. And it's just like you think of all the injuries that happen. The Suns skate by the Lakers once AD gets hurt. Then you have the Suns don't face Murray, and
Yeah.
and now the Suns don't face Kawhi, and then the Bucks too. I mean, they swept the Heat, but then they have like half of Harden and Durant, and now Trae Young's out. It's just like I don't
No
know.
Kyrie. No Kyrie.
Right. No Kyrie.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, it's kind of like a cheap, not a cheap path, but definitely not the hardest road that others have gone through, like the 2011 Mavs. But
Pretty hard road.
but yeah, I mean, I not to say they're not gonna earn it. I think hopefully the finals will be a nice, real test for either team.
I would say though the Mavs did have a really I think that's the hardest road that someone's ever had. I mean I haven't sat down and gone through the 80s and the 90s, but I just think that in recent memory at least, like that's you look back at those stars, it's crazy. I mean, even those that Blazers team in the first round people had us losing to. And that's not the Kobe
Yeah,
two-time
no,
champs
that's why
and
I brought that up. That's why I
yeah.
brought that up. I really, yeah, I think that's one of the craziest paths that has ever been.
But I don't think anyone would
Achieved.
argue that the Mavs were the best team that year. Like I don't think any that was a very like we were the 3 seed. We had one all-star, and the only other player who was near an all-star appearance was the 37-year-old point guard. And
Right. Well, we spoke about this. I think it was more thing about of depth. I would say people would argue that they were maybe the best all around team. I don't think it was like the most star studded. It's not like a Brooklyn Nets kind of deal.
they would say
Um,
Miami's the best team. I think I feel like that was very
yeah,
consensus.
yeah, but depth with the depth of the Mavs that year was really good.
True, but I think if you looked at it this year, like you could say that the depth of, I mean, I guess these teams I'm looking at, like they don't. The Suns have some depth. The Bucks don't really
Atlanta
have much
has
depth.
really good depth.
They do. But
I think they're
you,
the deepest team in the league.
for what reason? For like Gallinari and Lou Williams when he's not starting, and
And
Okongwu,
who's the Okongwu?
and when Herter's health or not Herter, DeAndre Hunter when he's
DeAndre
playing,
Hunter's fire.
yeah, but he's hurt.
I mean, that's like 4 guys right there that are all like,
Yeah,
I mean,
Reddish.
they'd be starters on a lot of teams. Yeah, Cam Reddish.
Yeah,
These guys
no,
would be starters on a lot of teams.
that's fair. I just like when I'm thinking of like the 3 best teams this year, and I say Lakers, Clippers, Nets, and then you think about that 2011 year, you have to think that the teams that were the best were probably MVP Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls, LeBron's big 3, and probably Lakers back-to-back champs. Like the Spurs were the 1 seed, but I mean they got bounced in the first round by the Grizzlies. I'm like not trying to throw
Okay.
shade. I just
Here
mean
it
like
goes.
they were
Here
they
it
were
goes. We're back, ladies and gentlemen.
the 1 seed lost in the first round. They couldn't have been a top team. Like Utah was the 1 seed this year. I wouldn't say they were a top 3 team, but I just don't think anyone would have put the Mavs. I mean, people had the Mavs losing in the first round. They're not they weren't in the top 3 of teams that year, and that is why their road was so hard. It's because they had to play teams better than them. So I don't know
I think, was that
exactly.
the beginning of the Thunder with like the big three there?
That they were the 4 seed
Also,
who beat Memphis after Memphis beat San Antonio because San Antonio was the 1 seed and lost to the
okay,
8 seed.
okay,
So
very nice.
I just remember one of those games was San Antonio won. Gary Neal had a nice buzzer beating 3. It's one of the bright
I
spots.
loved him on San Antonio. I
He's
really
great.
loved him. He would always hit some big shots.
Yeah. Do you think Gary Neal is reincarnated into Bryn Forbes?
Man, Bryn Forbes is such a big loss. I didn't realize how good he was until he left. He's
He's
been really good for Milwaukee.
Yeah, he was playing earlier. I'm looking at the game. Oh, how about Bobby Portis? He's playing right now. Have you seen him go off the last few games?
Yeah, dude.
That's a really quiet, like, I think Bobby Portis has a bigger impact, but also has the guy who has a smaller impact, but very similar to him is DeMarcus Cousins on the Clippers. Someone who didn't have a huge regular season impact at all. I mean, Bobby Portis definitely had more of one, but then comes in a series where they haven't gotten a lot of playing time in the playoffs and just like they both have given both teams hustle minutes,
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
A lot of plus and a plus minus.
Someone on like Twitter or something was like, Bobby Portis looks like an actor playing an NBA player.
Yeah.
And I can't stop thinking.
Did you see the picture of the Coach Carter, the guy? Have you seen the movie Coach Carter?
A long time ago.
So there's a guy in Coach Carter who looks exactly like Bobby Portis.
Oh, that's
and Bobby Portis actually tweeted it, and he said he like made a joke about it, which is it's good, but it's this guy. Oh, it's not coming up. Don't you love Twitter when it just doesn't show you what you want to see? Bobby BP Portis. His username is B Portis time. Oh my God, it's this guy.
No, that does wow. I thought that
Bobby Portis tweeted that when someone said that he looks like an actor who would play. That's so funny. All right, well, that's the Eastern Conference at least. Talked a little bit about the Bucks and the Hawks. I agree. I think the Bucks take this in 5 or 6, depending on what the Hawks can do with their backs against the wall tonight. All right, then West.
Wait, before we get on to that though,
yes.
Either way, I really got to commend the Hawks. No one thought they were going to get this far.
They didn't make the bubble.
I mean, they don't have an all-star on their team this year.
Nope.
That's crazy.
I know.
They sauced the Knicks, didn't look back, beat the 76ers, who I thought had a good shot at the championship. No matter what happens with Milwaukee, all credit goes to the Hawks organization. They did phenomenal this year.
With a team who fired their coach mid-year. Don't forget, Nate McMillan is an interim coach coaching them.
He turned it around.
And they were thinking about blowing it up mid-season because they had a lot of like turmoil in the locker room where they didn't like Trae Young and John Collins weren't getting along. They were thinking about trading Collins because he's a free agent after this year. And then their coach gets fired. I mean, there was a lot of question marks. They only got Bogdanovich, who has been awful this series, but has been good overall. They only got him because the Milwaukee trade for Bogdanovich fell through. So like they like really didn't do much and were not put in a great position at the beginning of the year, and then somehow came together. And I think you're right. You got to commend them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What they've done. And then a game 7 on the road too. I mean, that's so hard to win. You saw even Luka. That was too much for him. So,
oh
man. All right. I want to get into some Mavs stuff in a little bit, but I want to first talk about the West because I saw a legal DraftKings odds boost yesterday that offered the Bucks at plus 100, which not Bucks, Suns at plus 100. I thought closeout game in Phoenix, no Kawhi, no Zubats. Like this is easy money. Through way too much on Bucks. Clipper Suns. I love when I can talk plus 100, and the Clippers and Paul George especially just said not tonight. Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, they stepped up. Do you give them any shot to win Game 6 in LA?
Man, I really hope not. I really hope not. I think the entire NBA community does not want to see the Clippers win. Um, I think if we can glean anything from the series, it's that we forgot how good Paul George is. Um, he's a franchise player in himself, but he kind of seems to live in Kawhi's shadow. But he's showing that he is still a franchise player and he's still a superstar. He's been unbelievable this series, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they push a game 7, and that's scary. That's scary territory. That said, I think Chris Paul is a great leader, and I think the Phoenix team is professional enough to where they can close things down and really take care of business. So I think, and maybe it's my heart that's telling me this. Maybe it's just what I want to be. I don't know, but I think Phoenix will close it out in Game 6.
Interesting. I think the Clippers could win a Game 6 at home, even though they're not that great at home. But also on the Paul George note, yeah, I think it's taught us that he's good. I think it's also taught us he's streaky. Like there have been some games where he has not shown up. I don't think he's the best player on a championship team. I don't think that's changed. I don't think he was that in Indiana. They lost. I don't think he was that in OKC. They lost. I don't think he's been that yet. I think he's a 1B. I think you have to have someone better than him on your team if you're going to win a championship in a normal year. I mean, we've seen this year is just madness. A team without an all-star has a chance to make the finals. But I think he was brilliant last night. Just he was getting to his spots. I just like whenever you need a bucket down the stretch, he's a guy who can get it for you. There's very
He's
few
a safe
guys,
option.
very few players like that.
Free throws are a little bit iffy for him, but
Yeah.
he's a safe option down the stretch. I remember that game, the first game, or the second game, Phoenix, LA, and yeah, the Suns won that game. The value, right? But Paul George was hitting some crazy clutch shots, like consistently, just getting it done. I actually disagree with you. I think if he's surrounded by the right people, I think he could be a 1A.
Who would those right people be though? Like who?
I don't think it's DeMarcus Cousins and Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverly. I think it's more of like if you threw him on Atlanta Hawks right now, I think they'd be fire.
See, if you threw him on the Atlanta Hawks, like what more could Trae Young have done in some of these games? That's when I like what is Paul George going to do that Trae Young hasn't? Provide defense? Like that's maybe what he would do. Paul George is a great defender. But it's a lot of like the Atlanta Hawks. I feel like they're more than just a Paul George away from being like instead of Trae Young. Is that what you're saying? Like swap Trae Young and Paul George?
I mean, not even necessarily. It could be, sure. I
mean,
yeah, sure.
You could argue that Trae Young at next season's point, like there could be you wouldn't know who's the 1A and 1B in that scenario. Like after this meteoric rise starting next season, if you put him on the Hawks, that might be an even scenario. So if you're talking about Paul George and Herter and Bogdanovich and Capella, like I don't think that's a championship team next year. If you roll that out, I don't know if that's I wouldn't put my money on that playoff team, top 4 seed maybe, but I just don't see them competing against a lot of these teams.
You wouldn't think so. You would, but also it's because we've been seeing this Paul George has been living in Kawhi's shadow and it's been living in Russell Westbrook's shadow. When he was on Indiana, being the 1A option, don't forget that he took LeBron to 7 games.
Yeah, but he didn't win. He didn't go to the finals, and he had a stacked team too.
But you're also going against the prime big 3.
That's true. But what's changed? There's another prime big 3 now. That's just the way the NBA works. If you want to be good, I don't think he can be your first player. If you want to compete,
I don't think he's had a real opportunity since Indiana. I mean, but now he has, and he's showing that. I think he's showing that he maybe could be. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. We just don't know yet.
Wouldn't you say that Indiana though was a good cast of people who were good but not better than him?
But you also have to realize that he was literally going up against arguably the best team. Definitely one of the best teams of all time.
Okay, that's fair.
With the big 3 Miami Heat. And
But if he
and he
played,
took them to 7.
if he played right now with a better supporting cast, but he was the 1A, I don't think they beat Brooklyn in a 7-game series. I don't think they beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. I
I
don't
think that
think
I mean, maybe I'm slipping
healthy.
the Lakers now,
If we're
but
saying neutral world here, where everyone's healthy, I don't know. I don't think that a Paul George team. I mean, we'll never know because I don't think
never know.
unless Kawhi leaves. You think he'll leave and you think he'll opt out? He's done in LA.
I think no, I don't think so. I think if they would have lost to the Mavs, for sure, he would be gone. Actually, I don't even think that. I think they would have traded Paul George. Actually,
But Kawhi is a player option this summer.
right. I think he would have forced them to trade Paul George, but he wanted to be in LA. Like that was his whole thing. Like he literally put that team together. I don't think he's trying to leave now. His family's there. Like that was his. Believe me, I know the Kawhi Leonard narrative so too well. But I don't see it like this man left a champion, like literally won a championship and then left to go to LA. I don't think he's gonna leave.
Yeah.
I think if anything he would say, Paul George, you're out of here. Let's get some other good guys in. But now Paul George is proving maybe he shouldn't be the one to go either.
True.
So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think anything's gonna happen because either way they're proving that they're better than we thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even if they lose right now, no one's gonna blame them without Kawhi there. I think they're putting up a good fight.
Putting up a great. I thought it'd be a 5-game series max. I thought maybe the Clippers would steal one.
Which is crazy that the Suns could make it back. Not make it back. Well, I guess make it back, yes, to the finals, but make it to the finals when Steve Nash couldn't get there. I mean, a Nash, Stoudemire, Marion team, to me at least, blows this team out of the water. Like, it's just a matter of time and like timing and things falling in the right place. This seems good. Don't get me wrong, really good. But those 7 seconds or less D'Antoni teams were lethal, 60-win teams. I mean, they were really, really good.
Yeah, that's true. I think that one of the X factors here, I mean, is Booker, because I don't think they had somebody down the stretch who was as safe of like as lethal and as Devin Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I'm all about team basketball. That's my thing. I love Steve Nash. I love Amari Stoudemire. He's one of the tribe. But that said, I just don't think that they had the guy who could like put the game on his back the same way.
Yeah, that's fair. I see that, and again, we'll never know. Those teams, maybe it's because I was a kid and I was just fascinated by that whole thing, and they would always beat up on the Mavs, and the Spurs too. The Spurs, Mavs, Suns, the three of them, like there were some great games.
Great games. The Spurs are the ones who ultimately stripped them of that opportunity.
Yeah, when Robert Horry shoved Steve Nash into the score table. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Big shot, Rob.
Oh my God. All right, let's take a quick break, and we will come back with some rumor talks. Do some Luka, some Dame, all the good stuff. Maybe some Spurs lottery, who knows?
Kai, baby.
All right, we'll be back on Unmasked.
And we're back with Unmasked. Jordan, how was your break?
My break was great. I'm watching Shaq fly around with wings made of money. So
wings made of money.
I don't know. This show's great.
Very Shaq.
Have you ever watched the documentary, like the inside story, when they talk about how the show got created? And
I've not seen that.
They did. I mean, it's always on after they do their thing on, like, I guess now it's not Thursday nights, it's playoffs. When they do the Eastern Conference final games at the very end, when they're done, they show one of the episodes. So I've just been watching the last few nights. It is so funny to see how this thing has been developed. Like at the very beginning, it was just Ernie, Chuck, and Kenny, and they had to fight to get Chuck because everyone knew that he was going to be so funny. And then he comes on and like he says some crazy stuff that would easily get people canceled today. But back then, no one cared. And even now, if he says it, like he has such a long leash they're talking about, it's like you're not going to fire Charles Barkley. He's just
Right.
Charles Barkley. So just really funny. I forget what he said, but then he's always talked about like the women in San Antonio. Have you heard about that?
No.
He's like, it's a lovely city, but they just got some big women. And then like they always make fun of him. They're like, Shaq, you can't be, or Chuck, you can't be saying stuff like that. And he's like, Victoria's no secret down there. And he's too much. But again, he's like not gonna get fired. And even tonight, he was like, they asked him who Atlanta should start at point guard for Trae Young, and he's like, I think they should go with Jeff Teague. And Jeff Teague plays on Milwaukee. And like he's like, oh, okay, I can make a mistake, because like no one's listening to him for basketball analysis, really. I mean, there is somewhat of that because he does have decent analysis time from time to time, but he's all entertainment. He's so funny.
Oh, he was being real when he was saying Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague's been gone from Atlanta for a minute.
Well, he came back for like half a season. He was traded last year for like at the deadline and spent half a season, but he signed with the Bucks. So it's not only is he not on the Hawks, he's on the other team. Like, so it's
that's funny.
Yeah,
I remember when he was in the Celtics for a sec.
Yeah, that was this year, and then they cut him, and he signed with the
Gotcha.
Bucks. All right, let's talk Dame, because it's been on my mind for a while. Dame time. It's time to get out. So just a quick rundown. Dame wanted Chauncey Billups as the coach. The Blazers hired Chauncey, got backlash for ignoring the domestic violence case from Chauncey, or was it? I forget if it's domestic. I don't remember, or sexual assault.
Was it his like first choice Jason Kidd or something?
Yes. But he was okay with Chauncey. And then when everyone found out about Chauncey's past, they blamed Dame. And he didn't like, apparently, how the fans reacted and put him, like, they blamed him. He was like the scapegoat because it was his idea, according to them. And so I think he's using that as more as like leverage in terms of getting out, because I know we've talked about how Dame needs more help. He deserves better. So Chris Haynes, who's close to Dame, released a story, Yahoo Sports, about this whole thing and how Dame, this could lead to him wanting out. And so, of course, Mavs people, fans, Twitter, just start dreaming stuff up like this. And it just looks so nice. I'm holding up a picture of Dame and Luka. Because, I mean, there are probably arguably the two superstars who need help the most. If you're like, get blank help this summer, you're filling that blank with Dame or Luka. I mean, I don't think you're filling that blank with DeJounte Murray.
Kevin Durant.
So he's right. So Kevin Durant. If Dame goes to Brooklyn, I'm done. So do you think he gets traded at some point this summer? Is he that disgruntled? And if he does, where are your top destinations? You don't need to do an official NBA trade machine here. We're not looking for it to work. Just rough draft of brainstorming.
You're not going to like my answer.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think Dame is he literally like last year made a whole big deal with Paul George about how he's Mr. Loyalty and how Paul George just floats around from team to team. It's been another year. Same thing. I understand why you get frustrated, and I think things do need to change. I don't think it's going to start with Dame, though. I think it's going to start with pieces around him. I think CJ McCollum is out of there. I think Nurkic is probably out of there. I think a lot of that team is going to look very different next year. Melo's going to be gone. But I think Dame is the one centerpiece that they're not going to lose. Personally, that's my take.
So where does CJ go? You have any ideas?
We've discussed CJ trades before.
CJ for Porzingis?
That could be interesting. I was reading a lot about them bringing Karl Anthony Towns to Portland.
Wow.
I don't know if Minnesota would be willing to part with him, especially if Dame's not part of the deal. But interesting. But I could see something around Karl Anthony Towns for CJ McCollum, maybe Rocco, throw in like every pick ever. Could be something there. I don't know.
Yeah, they could probably do like Towns. They don't even have their pick this year because the Warriors have it. Oh, okay, the Warriors are the other interesting one. Do you think they could do a Dame or CJ package around Wiseman, number 7, which is the Timberwolves pick, and then number 14, which is their own pick. 2 lottery picks
Yeah,
and Wiseman.
that's a good question. I saw things about that on like Twitter also. I just don't really understand the point of that because like I feel like Steph and Clay and Dame is like it's like a little like I don't really know how that would work out. I think if there's anybody who could figure that out, it would be Steve Kerr,
Mm-hmm.
the Steve Kerr system, for sure. But I don't know. I guess I'm just too traditionally minded, being a Spurs fan and everything. But I don't really like the look of that.
How about Wiseman 7 and 14 for Pascal Siakam?
It's interesting. Um, Siakam has lost a lot of value to me,
Yeah.
which might be why this makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe you don't have to give up the 14. Maybe it's Wiseman 7.
who starts at the 5 then?
I think you go small. You put Siakam at the 5, Draymond at the 4, Wiggins at the 3, Clay at the 2. Because you're already big. I mean, Wiggins, Clay, they're long and they're big.
Yeah. Okay.
Siakam's big enough to guard bigs. And then you just
Is
have
he though?
then I think you just have a big ready. And when you want to go big, you bring Wiggins off the bench.
Yeah,
But
I could definitely see the appeal. It could, yeah, that makes more sense to me. Definitely makes more sense to me.
yeah, I saw that too somewhere. All right. Well, I want to. Okay, my Dame. This is my thing with Dame. New York and LA Lakers. They both love to say that they have the package. I don't think either of those teams has anything. The Lakers, I see this all over Twitter. It's like the meme of SpongeBob opening up the jellyfish net, and it's like a glowing box, and it's Kuzma, Taylor Horton Tucker, and a second round pick, and it's like every time a superstar says they want out, the Lakers fans. But if I'm the Blazers, I think your best option is going to be the Sixers, who could throw Ben Simmons at you. No, I mean, obviously he's not at his highest trade value point. You got Ben Simmons, though. You could throw, then you have all these young guys. You have Thibault, you have Maxey, you have, I'm probably missing people. Shake Milton, like guys who are role players, but are young guys. And then you have picks to go with it. Then I'm trying to think of the other team I was thinking of. I lost my train of thought. But
Mavs.
Okay, if you want to, okay, you go Mavs. So, I was thinking of the Celtics. Sorry, you could throw Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. It should all revolve around a young star, I think.
Right.
Because you're probably going to trade CJ after this too. So you want to start building around someone that you think has potential. And so say it's the Mavs, though. Say it's the Mavs. Could you do a Mavs trade?
Let's say it's the Mavs.
Just say it's the Mavs. Could you do a trade that's a 3-teamer where you're getting Porzingis from the Mavs plus some other teams' young assets and picks too? And then you're sending CJ to that team, or I'm trying to think. No, okay. The one I saw was Mavs, Hornets, Blazers. Mavs get Dame and Derrick Jones Jr., who's a lot of salary for the Blazers. It's like us taking a salary dump. The Hornets get Josh Richardson and Porzingis. And then the Blazers get our first round pick in 2025, and 2027. I think a first rounder from the Hornets, and then Terry Rozier and PJ Washington and pick swap. So they get like 3 first round picks, a couple pick swaps, Rozier, PJ Washington.
That sounds terrible to me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm sorry, but that just like for the Blazers, that sounds absolutely terrible.
Well, because there's no young piece except PJ Washington, but he's not.
Yeah, he's not a franchise player. They're giving up
No.
the franchise like that. No,
That's a CJ McCollum trade. That's a CJ McCollum.
Maybe
trade.
a CJ.
Oh. No. That's a Dame trade that I saw, but now saying it out loud, that sounds more like a CJ McCollum trade.
Yeah, that's a lot more plausible, I guess. I'm not even sure that we want to take that for CJ, honestly.
I mean, 3 first rounders and pick swaps, and you get. There must have been someone else that they get. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, like Gordon Hayward.
No,
Um,
it's. I don't know. I mean, Rozier was borderline an all-star. He averaged 20 a game, and PJ Washington had a really good season, and he's 20. But I think that could be enough to get CJ. I don't think that's enough to.
maybe, definitely not Dane.
I mean, that's basically what that is essentially what the Bucks gave up for Drew Holiday. It was Bledsoe and 3 picks and 3 pick swaps, right? It was something like that. And so it's like essentially that. And Drew Holiday and CJ McCollum are comparable at least, and you'd be getting a little bit more because you're getting 2 different players.
Okay, I can get behind that maybe.
But not the Dame.
If I was the Blazers GM, I'd be a little reluctant still.
Yeah.
But I can understand the rationale.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ben Simmons is gonna get traded.
I think so
really
too.
want him in San Antonio. I read somewhere online that like sports bettors are putting San Antonio with the 3rd highest odds to get him.
Wow.
I'd be really happy.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
But then I was reading on Twitter, Bruce Bowen was like, oh yeah, Popovich would give up anybody on the team to get him. And then DeJounte Murray like retweeted that and was like put like 100 cap emojis or something. So I might not be the case, but I would love it.
Yeah. It's that season. You start dreaming about these trades. I want to run a couple by you from Bleacher Report. This is a Bleacher Report article called Trades to Replace the NBA's Most Disappointing Stars. Oh, it's very bright. You can't see it. Okay. Yeah. It has a picture of Malcolm Brogdon and who else? Ben Simmons. Okay. Malik Beasley in, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope out for Los Angeles. They're not very comparable. Lakers receive Malik Beasley. Timberwolves receive KCP and the 22nd overall pick.
I would not for the Malik Beasley is good.
I know Malik Beasley is good. I think Caldwell Pope is more of a role player than that.
Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah, I don't like that. All right. I'm gonna stop reading the headlines. Oh, jeez. Sorry. You're boring me. All right. Cavs receive Harrison Barnes and Marvin Bagley. And Kings receive Kevin Love, Chetty, and next year first round pick next year.
Okay, I actually kind of like that one.
But what does Kevin Love do on the Kings? What is he doing on the Kings? You're giving up Marvin Bagley already?
Dude, Marvin Bagley, I think, needs to be in a new system. I think they should mutually agree to part ways, but obviously get some value from it.
A first-round pick?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe it is. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy to think that Marvin Bagley holds more value than Kevin Love.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that's true. I bet you could flip Kevin Love after that. I think, where Kevin Love makes a lot of sense is Philly. To have someone playing that Ben Simmons power forward position, like in terms of on defense, but then on offense is completely stretching the floor. I think he'd be like a Ryan Anderson to the Dwight Howard when they were in Orlando. It'd be like Kevin Love and Joel Embiid. I really like that. But Kevin Love, okay, so you get Chetty. Chetty could be in the rotation for Sacramento. You get a first-round pick, which is Cleveland's, so it's going to be bad. So that's a decent asset. But Kevin Love, I don't know what he'd be doing on the Kings. I don't know if I love that. Okay, whatever. Fair. Move on. All right. Dallas Mavericks receive Pascal Siakam. Toronto Raptors receive KP, Jalen Brunson, and a 2025 first-round pick. That is.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
I don't either because, the one problem I have with KP is when Luka's not in there, he can't create for himself. He is horrible off the dribble. He has no post-up game besides turning around and shooting over people, which he's not even that great at anyway. Siakam dominated in that finals. Like he had that 30-point game he was scoring at will. He has that spin move that's lethal. I think Luka and Siakam might be worth it. The only thing I hate giving up Jalen Brunson, but he's going to be a free agent next year. I have to
I've
pay
never
him.
considered like Siakam. That's interesting. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, I
And
don't hate that at all.
they're both kind of like players that are like have potential and like have showed it, but also right now are like at 80% of what their value's worth probably, or
Yeah,
so maybe less, maybe more, I
he's
don't know,
Porzingis
but
less for sure.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's both like you're trading two discount players,
Yeah,
which is probably good for both teams.
but I look at it as like I would be so scared to say that Porzingis is a number 2 on this team, and Siakam is a debatable, probably not on a championship team. He wasn't, but debatable number 1 on like especially on his team right now. Like I think he was the go-to option. So if you can make him a 1B instead of just like a solid 2, which Porzingis is right now, and Porzingis is probably more of a 3. Like that's huge. You can have Siakam be a 2, in terms of Luka is your 1, and you'll be fine. I just don't love giving up Brunson. I'm
I
looking.
just the only thing is I don't know, Siakam and Luka have like, it sounds like weird to me in my head, just like those two
Yeah,
together.
that's true. He's not as good of like catch and shoot shooter as Porzingis is, so
Yeah.
you'd be limiting that, but you'd be gaining so much on the athleticism and playmaking. Like he can create. He doesn't just stand there like
Yeah,
KP
no,
does.
I definitely see the potential. Absolutely.
And you could go out and replace JB on the free agent market, because if Josh Richardson declines his option, or you just want to use your middle level exception money, there's guys out there that you can get. You could try to convince a Kyle Lowry or a Mike
Oh,
Conley
the
to come for
Mavs
cheaper.
love Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or Reggie Jackson. Honestly, throw your money at Reggie Jackson and have him be Jalen Brunson next year. That's
Yeah, they're
not a
kind of
bad option.
similar. Kind of
Yeah.
similar.
All right, next one. Pelicans receive Colin Sexton and Torian Prince. Cavs receive Eric Bledsoe and 2 first-round picks.
I've seen a lot of stuff for Sexton. I don't understand why they're trying
Yeah,
to push him out so much.
but is he worth that? Is he worth 2 first-rounders right now? Bledsoe, I guess his upside, but he
Yeah,
wasn't. He's
he
very
had that
inefficient.
one game against Brooklyn that was nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that clearly. I don't know. I think I like Sexland a lot. Um and I actually think that the Pelicans would be winning that trade by getting somebody. They'd be getting Zion, some guy who's more reliable, um, and maybe could satisfy him a little bit, because I know that I've been reading about how he's been having some feeling weird about his situation and everything. I think that they win the trade ultimately, kind of like a Drew coming to Milwaukee to console Giannis, you know?
yeah. Hmm. Also on the Pelicans topic, what do you think of Dame to New Orleans to try to help Zion stay, and you give up Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Lonzo's a free agent, so it would be Lonzo, and all your young guys, Jackson Hayes, whatever, and then all the picks you got from the Drew Holiday trade, and
Oh wow.
you just try to give. I mean, Brandon Ingram, you can't really build around at this point. Like I think he is what he is. We've seen it. Like he's an all
Yeah.
star, but I
Yeah.
think he's more of a number 2 option, maybe
Right.
number 3. But then you'd be starting from scratch, or not. I'm sorry, you wouldn't be starting from scratch, and you could still keep CJ, and you have CJ, Nurkic, and although Nurkic says if Dame's out, I'm out. So maybe you do a little Steven Adams for Nurkic swap. But you have CJ and Brandon Ingram, and then all these picks to work with, and some young talent. I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't do it for me.
Is it all Milwaukee? Is it all Milwaukee picks?
Yeah, so it's not very high. But you could throw
Yeah.
in some of your own. I mean, it wouldn't just be 3 picks. But
Yeah. I see that also as like a CJ maybe trade.
yeah,
Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. It's more. I think it's more valuable than CJ, but less than Dame.
yeah. I don't think CJ moves the needle if he replaces Brandon Ingram for the Pelicans. I don't think CJ
Right.
and Zion. I don't think that's any different.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Philly receives. Here's your Ben Simmons. Philly receives Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Lamb. Indiana receives Ben Simmons. Wow. Ben Simmons and Sabonis both clogging the paint. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible. Sabonis doesn't shoot threes. That is just What do you do with Miles Turner? You have Miles Turner, Ben Simmons, and Sabonis. Oh my God. So Miles Turner is going to turn into like Brooke Lopez, just standing outside.
I'm not a big fan of that one. I guess that's I I understand that Ben Simmons is at a discount right now and completely valid. My roommate from Philly burned his jersey. He sent me a video of it right after
Wow.
right after their playoff series, where Ben Simmons averaged less than 5 points per game. But
Remember when he didn't
um,
shoot? When he
yeah,
was right under the basket and he passed?
yeah, it gave me. I mean, it's sad, dude.
It's like you
And I
playing
think he
pickup.
would, and I think he would thrive in the San Antonio system.
Who are you
Thanks,
giving up?
Jordan.
All right, who are you giving up for what's his trade value in San Antonio terms?
Yeah, so you give up Jakob Pertl.
I was about to say Yaka Yaka.
I think, and I hate to say it, I think you either give up Lonnie Walker or Derek White. I know it hurts.
Who would you
It
rather
hurts.
give up?
Derek White. I think he's proven more, but he also has less upside. That's my take.
Are you
Um,
openly against D2 athletes? Is that okay? I'm just
um,
checking. I was just checking.
and what else was I gonna say? Oh, and some picks. But yeah,
Okay, I could see that. I could see them doing that, but I think think Philly needs some more win now talent. I don't
yeah,
think
you're probably right.
like I think they would go for I don't know. I can't even.
Don't say it.
They're whoever I'm going to say is a free agent probably for you,
Oh,
like DeRozan.
yeah. It could be DeRozan. Yeah,
But he's free. He's a free agent. I think the Mavs could sign DeRozan. I think so many people could use a guy like DeRozan. Watching these playoff games, did you see how low scoring that Suns Clippers game was the other night?
yeah.
And the Nets and Bucks last round had some really low scoring games. Like every team could use a DeRozan that can come in, even if it's off the bench, and just for the fourth quarter time, it's like 12 minutes to go, the beginning until like 7 minutes when all the starters are resting, to just move the needle and keep the game going. Because DeRozan, that's what he does. He's a vet who can score and he's smart. And you need those guys in the playoffs. And it's a tragedy that he has been trapped in probably the worst organization of all time for the last 2 years, just having to
Oh my
suffer
god.
and sit on his
Goodness.
couch and watch players play in the postseason. I
You're
mean,
not
come
wrong.
on. Come on.
You're not wrong. It's
The
sad.
mile.
And he gets snubbed with the All-Star game too.
What'd you say?
He gets snubbed from the All-Star game also.
Okay.
Because he's in this small market team.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that Devin Booker has never been voted or selected as an all-star?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
been
he ended up being on the team, right?
Yeah, he was an injury replacement both years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And people are already willing to say, like,
He's
if
the
you
next
say
Kobe.
that, yeah, he's the next Kobe. If you like went up to someone on the street and said that Devin Booker's not a top 10 player right now, which he isn't, Devin Booker's not a top 10 player, then they would be like, "Are you kidding me? Have you been watching the playoffs?" Like, it's so recency bias. It's crazy when you look at the grand scheme of things. Like, I can easily name you 10 players that are better than Devin Booker. And it's just because he shot the lights out in a few games that everyone's going nuts. Like he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's really good, but
Wait, can we talk about recency bias for a sec, actually?
Yes, please.
Donovan Mitchell, I'm sorry to say, amazing talent. I'm on the Donovan Mitchell bandwagon.
Same.
I love him, but he is not the best player to ever play for the Utah Jazz.
Did someone say that?
Dude, Stephen A. Smith was like, he is the best player to ever
Oh
play
my
on
God.
the Utah Jazz. I think you're forgetting about the man who has the second most points all time in NBA history.
Jeez, that's so.
I think you're
Even Stockton.
the
Even
man
Stockton
who has the most assists and steals all time in NBA history. That's disrespectful.
I think honestly, prime Darren Williams for the Jazz was also amazing. Like we forget Donovan Mitchell has been great for a couple seasons, but there were Darren Williams.
Dude, he's in terms of his skill. I'm realizing now, and I've always underrated him. He is among the top most skilled players in the league. I think in terms of pure skill, I think he's like I'm talking like craft, like skill. I think he's top 5 player in the league.
I agree. I think that he can beat you in so many ways. Like
Yeah.
he's someone who is quick, and also when he's hitting his shots, like he's hot. There's nothing that's going to stop him. Okay, I looked this up, but Darren Williams, there were 3 seasons in a row where he was 19 points, 10 and a half assists, and 3 to 4 rebounds a game. Like that's, and people were like him or CP3. Remember that was a thing. That was a thing.
That was a thing.
And he led the Jazz to similar playoff runs like this, where it was they would go a couple rounds, they would never win. Like, so just to like make that blanket statement, you at least have to sit down and think about these things. You know, like I'm not saying Darren Williams is better than Donovan Mitchell, but I'm saying like the best player in Jazz history. Let's take a second and just think, because you can't just say that willy-nilly. Yeah, Pistol Pete, LSU, of course.
Just all right. Think about Shaq and Ben Simmons and Charles Barkley.
What do you say?
Shaq, like before Game 7, Ben Simmons is like, Ben, you're from LSU, you got to step up tonight.
Oh yeah.
And Shaq's like, man, LSU hasn't had anybody good since Pete Maravich. It's funny because Shaq went to LSU.
I did know that. That is that's a funny one. All right, well, let's take another quick break. Last thing, Spurs lottery. Who do you want? It's number 12, right?
Yeah, number 12, and I'm all in for Kai Jones. I think he'd be a beautiful fit for the San Antonio Spurs system. I've watched him a lot this year, and he wants to be in San Antonio. I'm all up in that Spurs Facebook page. They're always like, oh, Kai Jones talking about how he loved the Spurs organization, everything they stand for, and the Spurs love him. So I think it could be a beautiful marriage.
You could probably just stay at UT still, drive down, commute.
Yeah,
wouldn't be hard. Does he go in front of Greg Brown, you think, or is Greg Brown a better prospect?
Depends who the Spurs pick, but and I like Kai, honestly. I think he goes. I think Greg Brown has a lot to prove. I think Greg could step up above him, and he was, like, in the beginning, it was really looking like Greg Brown was the man, but towards the end, Kai was starting to take the lead, and I think Kai really has those moves down. He's really nice.
So who would be the real KJ? Would it be Kai Jones or would it be Keldon Johnson? I think that'd be a really big debate in the Spurs.
I'm always for Keldon Johnson, man.
Okay.
Give it some time for Kai, but Keldon he's gonna be, watch out next year. You thought this year was his breakout year? Watch out for next year. I'm warning you. Trigger warning.
I'm watching. All right. Well, we'll do some more stuff on the draft. Hopefully we're gonna keep up with our Unmasked in this season too. We will be back. I think that's late July, so stay tuned for that. But exciting stuff. I mean, the Mavs don't have their first round pick, but hey, at least we have a 7-3 Latvian that has no trade value. So all right. Well, when sorry, I cannot talk. We come back. Man, I am just all over the place today. We will do Today in History, which today we're taping this June 29th. Tomorrow is Wednesday, June 30th. So it's tomorrow the last day of June. It's June 30 days, half September, April. Yeah. Tomorrow's the last day of June. So that's probably when you're going to hear this. Happy end of June.
That's crazy. This summer is going by so fast.
I know. All right. We will be back in a second. Don't go anywhere on Unmasked. Hello and welcome back to Unmasked, where we keep bringing you chips when you run out but still have guacamole left. Don't you hate that when you finish and your chips and they're like, oh, we don't bring more, and you're like, well, what do I do with this extra guac? Just sit there, you know?
It's the worst.
It is the worst. Like, out of all the things that could be the worst, that one is the worst, definitively. Okay. So today is June 29th, but we're going to pretend like it's June 30th because hopefully you're listening to this on June 30th. And hey, Zach, you know whose birthday it is?
Whose?
It's Mike Tyson's birthday. He's 54 today. Mike Tyson.
On the call today?
What?
Is Mike on the Zoom?
Mike. Where you are, Mike? Mike Tyson is 55. Happy birthday. And then another Mike Phelps. Happy birthday, Big Roids. He's 36. Double high, double roids. And looking at the rest of these, I don't know anyone on here. I hate it though. There's so many that just say TikTok star. It's like anyone could be a TikTok star. That's not you're not a celebrity for
Jordan
that.
Sternblade's dunking.
Right. Like if I can get 600,000 views dunking with my dad, like anyone can get fame on that app. And so the fact that there's people on here that that's what their celebrity profession says is TikTok star. YouTube star is different because YouTube star was like you get a ton of subscribers. That was like before TikTok. It's not as easy to post videos like
Yeah, I
the
think Jake Paul was the one who said it's more mentally draining than boxing.
yeah, honestly, to edit and do all like it's not easy. For TikTok, you film something and it's creative. It takes creativity, but it's very easy. It's the barrier to entry is very low. And so the fact that all these people are TikTok stars is bugging me. So I'm not even gonna entertain that. That I don't really recognize anyone else. So happy birthday to Mike Tathan and Michael Phelps. And then on this day, 2002, we're keeping it in the 21st century. 19 years ago today, Brazil beats Germany in the World Cup final for their 5th title.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? Do you watch the World Cup? Are you watching the soccer one now that's on the UEFA Euro Championship?
During lunch breaks, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it weird that it says 2020? Like they didn't want to acknowledge that they had to push it back. It's like they're trying to pretend like we're still in 2020.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's like just say 2021. Just put an asterisk next to it when it goes on Wikipedia later in life. Just like it's fine. And then in the 2018 FIFA World Cup, Kylian Mbappe at 19 becomes only the second teenager to score twice in a World Cup match. I say this because I don't know if you're watching yesterday, but France played and they were in penalty shootouts. It was a great game. And Mbappe, who's like he's worth like $180 million, and he missed a penalty kick. Like one of those where it's like, it's just you and the goalie, and they lost. France lost. And he's supposed to be like amazing. And imagine that. Crazy. Like imagine LeBron had like a technical foul free throw to send it to overtime and he missed. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then the next year in 2019, this is exactly what this website, how it words it. I think this is so funny. 2019, Brooklyn Nets load up on elite NBA talent on first day of free agency. Signed Kevin Durant from Golden State, Kyrie Irving from Boston, and DeAndre Jordan from the New York Knicks. It's like, yeah, let's put them all in the same basket. I actually remember where I was. I was on the beach when I got that alert that they had signed that duo. It came out earlier in the day. It's like they didn't want to definitively say it, so it was just like leaning towards a reunion. Well, first it was like we knew they were going to go somewhere together, the two of them.
Right.
DeAndre was never involved, and then it was like, is it going to be the Knicks? Or is Durant coming to Boston? I don't know if that was ever.
I think he actually was low-key involved, DeAndre.
I think towards the end it was like, oh, he's going to come to for 4 years, 40 million. I remember that. Like once they pick Brooklyn, they're bringing him along. Yeah. But at the beginning, it was just like Durant and Kyrie are going somewhere together, like for the days leading up to that. And then I just remember like in the morning, it was very early in the day. It's like they're expected because it was the day of that free agency started. It was like at 6 p.m. that day, June 30th. And so they were like, he's going to sign with the Nets, or they're both going to sign with the Nets. Sorry. So just crazy turn of events. And, that's that. And then Harden comes and Blake Griffin comes and Steve Nash comes. So we'll see. You think they win the championship next year?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's so easy.
Yeah, I'm picking Brooklyn Nets all the way.
You gonna place a wager on it?
Jordan, that's not legal in Texas.
Oh, it's legal here. I forgot that you like the Spurs. Okay. All right. So that brings us to fan mail, which today is brought to you by Sonic. And our fan mail comes to us.
What is it with you and Sonic?
I don't know. Our fan mail comes to us from, wow, Simmons to San Antonio, Cherry Limeade, 1215. That's so interesting, at gmail.com. This isn't even about the Spurs, unless this player played for the Spurs. I don't know. But this is the email that we have. Hi, Jordan and Zach. I hope that you guys do a show soon. Well, this person's in luck. Simmons of San Antonio. I was listening to my favorite artist, Lil Wayne. We were big fans of Lil Wayne on the podcast, and he had this lyric in his song DOA. Got the stove on my waist and we cooks. I'm in the way, you can't pass like Aaron Brooks. Is Aaron Brooks the most underrated passer of all time? And should he be in the Hall of Fame? That's the question.
No and no. Maybe Rockets, all like the Rockets all time.
See, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame when you take into account okay, you tell me, what's your biggest argument for Manu Ginobili to be in the Hall of Fame?
International acclaim.
So did you know that Aaron Brooks was a Chinese Basketball Association All-Star in 2012? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. Bet you didn't know that.
Sharks, on the Shanghai Sharks.
He played in 2012 on the Guangdong Southern Tigers. So.
Oh, the Southern Tigers.
Yeah. See it? Yes. The Guangdong. So to say that he's not worthy of the Hall of Fame and he was a CBA All-Star in 2012, are you kidding me? Is that a joke? Did you know he was the most improved player in the NBA in 2010? Do you know that?
I did not know that off the top of my head.
Did you know that's the same award that Tracy McGrady won, and Jimmy Butler, and Paul George, and Victor Oladipo, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum? We're putting him in the same breath as Kevin Love, too. Like, this is – I think you're completely looking over – I mean, did you know that he won a bronze medal on the 2002 FIBA U18 championship in Isla Margarita on the national team in 2002? I don't think you're taking his whole career into account here.
Wait, so just to clarify, you do think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's now a liaison for the New York Knicks. So if you're looking at his career as a whole, I mean, he's gone over to continents. He's international play. He's competed for the team. The fact that he is a true NBAer. I mean, he played for Houston, Phoenix, Sacramento, Houston again, Denver, Chicago,
He's an ambassador.
Indiana, Minnesota. Come on. He started 13 playoff games in 2009 for the Houston Rockets and averaged 17 points a game. 17 points a game for the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. Is this a joke to you?
That's impressive. Hall of Fame is elite status. Only guys like Tim Duncan and David Robinson make it there. I don't think Aaron Brooks deserves it.
I mean, he is ridiculous. And he played on the 2017-2018 Minnesota Timberwolves team that featured Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, that team. And
Aaron Brooks.
Yeah, and he played in the playoffs for them on that loaded squad. He found a way. So look,
wait,
if you're going to see
playoffs?
Yeah, they lost to the Rockets in the first round. But not because Aaron Brooks. They only gave him 1.5 minutes a game. I mean, how can you make that much of an impact? But that was the end of his career. So He played all 82 games in a season for Chicago. How many players have ever played all 82 games? He played 82 games twice. Twice. He played 82 games. All of them. All 82. Every single one of them. I mean, the fact that you can look at him and say, he's 6 foot. He's 161 pounds. I don't like that frame. He doesn't get into the Hall of Fame. The fact that that can come out of your mouth is utterly ridiculous. The fact that because he's 73 kilograms, he can't make it to the Hall. The fact that he is from Seattle, Washington. What was it? Is it because he wore 00? Is that why? Is it because he went to Franklin High School?
Pound for pound.
I mean, I would never agree with that. But I do love Aaron Brooks. They called him like Skip to my Lou. Remember, it was like Skippy. What was his nickname? It was something like that. Aaron Brooks' nickname. See, he was so good he had a nickname. Aaron Brooks' nickname Skip. Skipper. Skip. something. It was something. Skip to my Lou, Aaron Brooks. I knew it.
Nice.
I don't really get it though. Shouldn't that be Lou Williams? Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be
I never heard that.
LaMarcus Aldridge is L Train? Is that what that said?
Yeah, I've seen that somewhere. I never
Really?
thought that before. Yeah.
Interesting. This is really cool. And then Rafer Alston.
What is that? Is that basketball reference we're looking at?
No, this is straight hoops. It's NBA player nicknames. But Rafer Alston was skipped to my Lou. Sorry. Was Rafer Alston? Yeah. Okay, never mind. Was not. I mean, they were on the Rockets at the same time. And they call Corey Brewer the drunken dribbler. They call Andrew Bynum Bynamite.
I like that.
Who's what was that guy's name? Okay, tell me. This guy had another nickname, but this is one that I just found. What player's nickname was the penetration?
Dwight Howard.
Matt Bonner.
Hmm.
Interesting. All right. Bullet Cabbage Platch was Andre Blatch. That's I could read these all day. I'm not going to though, because we all have lives and we all need to get back to watching the Eastern Conference Finals, which is pretty much over at this point. And my foot's asleep because we talked about Aaron Brooks for too long. So in summary, I think Zach sold his career a little bit short, but I will always be an Aaron Brooks fan. I don't think it was his passing. I don't love that Lil Wayne called that out. I don't love it. I think that Aaron Brooks was more of a Lou Williams before Lou Williams, and he was great at microwave scoring off the bench. I mean, he averaged 19 points a game when he played all 82 games for the Rockets.
Speaking of Lou Williams, you know that Lou Williams is a song featuring Lil Wayne?
Is a song or has a song?
Has a song featuring Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz called Big Tuh.
Really? Well, I think that may be in our fan mail also. Coming to come. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I think this is really fun to get back into the swing of things. We're going to be doing things different, but like the old times where we're going to do this probably more often than taking months hiatus. So look for more Unmasked to come. I was literally in Austin with you and we were in Dallas together and we didn't record, which is mind blowing. I was in the famous apartment with the jerseys in the background, staying in Jonathan Blum's apartment.
The laboratory.
Yeah, the lab. So everyone take care, be safe. I'm going to be actually on the beach for the next week. So maybe we'll do one in a really cool setting where people can be jealous, but
or
have a great.
Just put on cool backgrounds.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's see. Can I change my background now? I think you know what in my program a lot of people do is this. They go blurry. Can you see me blurry? Do I look
nice.
blurry? Yeah. Oh, look at me. Look at me. You can't tell what's behind me. Oh, nice. That is nice. That's really scary actually, because your eyes are like right on Van Vliet's pants. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. So thank you everyone again for listening. Zach, you have any final words?
Amazing show as always.
Amazing
it's
show.
Good to be back. Good to be back. Good to be back, baby.
One on that. Take care, everyone. Peace.